I challenged 10 people to build the best waterfront views in City Skylines, all playing on the same map. The person who showed the most wonderful waterfront views after 6 weeks wins nothing. This wasn't a competition. It was a nifty little community project first proposed by JJ. Thank you, JJ. At least 10 of us all started at the same time on the same vanilla base game map, Islands. We didn't have any restrictions for mods or DLCs. Each of us used as many or as few of them as we wanted. But we did limit the population milestones we could reach each week so that it felt like we were actually building side by side. Want to see how it went? Okay, let's slow it down a notch and really take in the sights. I'm having a difficult time figuring out where to start with just how in love with these cities I am. I'll do my best not to ramble on too much about this, but I want you guys to know that through this entire process, I was completely surprised that anyone would join, let alone all the folks that did. So thank you. From a selfish perspective, this has been a darn hoot to experience. We had quite a few community members sharing screenshots in Discord, and in the end, 9 of you sent in your save file for this video, plus mine. The barrage of images you just saw were the screenshots. Now, in no particular order, let's take a look at my favorite spots of each city that was sent to me. I say in no particular order, but the city you're seeing here first is mine. I enjoyed building it, working through the difficult terrain, landscaping so much, and trying to focus on waterfront views. Sometimes I got distracted from the waterfront, which I'm sure is a huge surprise to everyone watching. And then even when taking these shots, I couldn't decide, does a waterfront view mean being out on the water looking in at the city, or the opposite, being at the land's edge looking out over the water? Normally I would say the latter, looking at the water, but that doesn't make sense for this because then we'd just be looking out over water forever. So I decided just to roll with whatever looked good. Next up, we've got Bacchus's build. Bacchus had the most modded setup of all the folks that sent in their saves and actually built very little on the mainland compared to the rest of us. Instead, Bacchus brought this giant peninsula out and built some really lovely bits on it. I love the quay walls around it and especially the use of cable cars connecting the islands and the peninsula. Cable cars are an example with this project where one person mentioned how great they'd work and everyone sort of hopped on the bandwagon for them. That stuff warms my cold, dead heart. Bacchus, this whole area looks so great. Love how tidy you've got everything packed in here. Love the area with the 2 plazas of transference. What a great build. Looking at BL's city now, I had so much fun zooming around here and it was tough to choose a favorite little spot. Trying to stick to waterfront views, this stadium built out into the water with the quay walls is just stellar and the whole area around it. The transit, another retaining wall, the little parking area with the pier opposite it, the walking paths, it's all awesome. But I can't help but shout out ToadieZz's nature reserve over here. Love to see it. Brando's city here had a pretty high population and there was so much to look over. Completely abandoning my quest for waterfront views though, I had to decide that this area with the monorail insanity is my favorite. Those intersections with like 5 or 6 monorail tracks coming in and out is wild. I will take a ticket for one, please. Next up is JJ, the brains behind the whole operation. JJ suggested this project and also poked me to make it happen, which is a good thing because now it has happened and I got to fly through this city, which was really fun. Finding a favorite spot was again really tough, but I had to show off this area over here with really clean use of retaining walls, the green cities buildings, forestry industry, and hotels. Love how it all came together. A special shout out to ToadieZzz International Airport and Dr. Gunt's Arena. Moving to Radicus's city, which was packed full of decorated areas to focus on, I decided to show off the farming industry here because it's a great example of how all of us did such different stuff with our industries despite using the same map. And this empty factory prop, I believe, was here with the map, and Radicus made use of it, building around it. I also just wanted to walk through the amusement park on the island or go on the observation tower to be able to look out on the water. Next up, Nash, who is one of the few to tackle this mountain and build on it and really filled out the entire mainland while still building some lovely sites on the big island. Nash even built Chirp X, but of course my favorite part of Nash's build is this airport. I mean, come on, I'm pretty sure Nash is the only person who's ever actually built my silly little Toad interchange, and then to develop it into an airport just blows my mind. What a phenomenal example of taking a cheeky, fairly useless, but still silly fun idea that someone dumped on YouTube and turning it into an actual build. I love this. Azork here really took the waterfront views directive to heart, I think. There were so many places I could just park my camera in the city and gaze over the buildings and the water and vibe. Really great stuff. The whole city feels really artistic and thoughtfully placed together. So yet again, I found it difficult to single out a spot to showcase, but I eventually had to land here. Another example of key walls and retaining walls being used well, and just all the bits that go into this lower area, with the stadium sort of being the centerpiece. I had to zoom into the metro hub because Azork combined it with the space elevator and a load of buildings that would attract tourists and thus all these people. But yeah, this view from all these angles, so good. Okay, so Warner has maybe just entered a cheat code for me to fly over the entire city, okay? Warner has gone ahead and named a bunch of districts after community pets. We have Bayou Estate for Golf House's best dog, Myrtle Hills for one of Leanne's cats, Smudge Heights for Leanne's other cat, Lady Anastasia Farming for Joe's best dog, Friend Alley's for one of my cats, you may have seen him, he's the fat orange one, Brutus City for my best dog, who you've probably also seen, Facetown after my cat that hasn't come into the office in a while, and Garnet River Views beside Garnet River Also Views after Cheer's best dog. Warner, you did it. You won the challenge that nobody knew was part of this, not even me. If I had to pick a favorite area, I'd scooch over to Facetown again because I love how the Modders Library looks with the Green City's low density housing. And finally, we get to see Red Mage's City, which is based on the Federation of Windurst in Final Fantasy XI. Red Mage made the most use of landscaping into and out of the water for sure, and the whole build has assets that relate to the Final Fantasy inspiration. My favorite part of this build was easy to choose, I think. These trees made enormous with procedural objects, and the circular island around them is just too fun. With all the paths connecting all these little islands all around, it's just so cool. What an awesome take that you don't see happen often in a game like Cities, where people are so keen for realism. Now, it's well and fine to poke around these saves individually and discuss, but this was a community project. Let's see what unfolds when we fly over the city, smooshing these 10 save files together. The use of the islands surprised me, specifically the variation in it, I guess. Some of us didn't use the smaller islands at all, and those of us that did had so many different ideas for them. A campus, a nature reserve, greenhousing, industry, an airport, a prison, to no one's surprise, I'm sure, this main larger island also felt a bunch of different approaches to it. I'll let the footage speak for itself. I'm honestly at a bit of a loss with what to say for so much of this because all I can think is how rad is this? Somehow, at least 10 people from all around the world agreed to play this same video game with the same starting parameters, taking their time and waiting for certain statistics to be met each week before they carried on with their creativity. And in the end, it looks like this. One of my favorite flybys to do was up this main highway that was there at the beginning of the map. It's interesting to see everyone's way of building around it, or using it, or scooching it over slightly. Having landmarks, I guess you can call a highway a landmark now, like this to use as a point of reference for a multi-person project like this is a great idea if you're looking to set up something similar yourself. This point where the rivers meet is another landmark that's so fun to compare between the cities. It's an awkward spot of land to fill, so seeing everyone's creative ideas with it is so inspiring to me. I think a lot of us had fun using different bridges and different transit to cross between the mainland on the right here and the big island on the left. Once one person mentioned cable cars, I remember a few of us picked up on them, and I think more than one of us used this as a great spot for a scam park as well with the Park Life DLC. I left this chunk of land over here pretty well blank, so I was surprised when I was going through others' cities and there was a good bit of building over here. A lot of the crew went further with their builds than I had expected, which I think is only a good thing. Now, the goal with this project was for us all to work on presenting our best waterfront views. So let's have a fly over the main shoreline, and from here, I'm just going to let the video do the work for a minute. I'm so impressed and proud with these builds, I should just can it a minute and let them speak for themselves. A big thank you to Azwark, Bacchus, BL, Brando, JJ, Nash, Radicus, Redmage, and Warner, who sent me their save files to be shown off in this video. And a shout out to everyone else who built alongside us and shared screenshots and discussion in Discord. You all make this the best little gang, you know?